House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan, Republican of Ohio, is now subpoenaing former Special Counsel Jack Smith. He is calling him in for a deposition 2 weeks from today, 10 a.m., December 17th. Of course, this has been an ongoing look at Jack Smith and the way he behaved as special counsel. Jordan is now also asking Jack Smith, the former special counsel, to produce documents, those materials he is requesting via this subpoena to be produced to his committee by December 12th. So that is next week. Again, breaking right now, House Judiciary Committee Chair Jim Jordan wants Jack Smith in for a deposition. We'll see the reaction from Jack Smith and, of course, bring it to you here on Newsline as this story will develop in the next few hours. For more on this, I'm pleased to bring in our panel, co-host of Wake Up America, Marc, also the former special assistant to President Trump, former strategic director for communications, Trump-Pence 2020, and Tudor Dixon, a former Michigan gubernatorial candidate and the host of the Tudor Dixon podcast. Great to see you both. Marc, I want to get you off the top here on the breaking news. So 2 weeks from actually today, we could see Jack Smith responding to this subpoena. Obviously, congressional oversight has a lot of power. They are talking about Rule X of the House of Representatives. Marc, this is definitely an inflection point in anteing up the criticism, the focus on what Jack Smith did and how he weaponized the government, many say, to go after President Trump as he was a then candidate.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure if this is going to be a public deposition or not, but if it is, I would like to buy tickets for it and grab some popcorn because Jim Jordan versus a guy who used to prosecute war crimes, that would be must-see TV in Law and Order style. It'll be interesting to see what he gets from him because Jack Smith is a seasoned attorney. I'm not sure he's going to willingly give information that's not asked. So I'm hoping Jim Jordan's on his A game because that should be a good deposition.
Yeah, well, certainly he and Jack Smith knows how to play the game. I will put a finer point on it in this letter. And again, this is breaking just moments ago in the inbox, Tudor. Jim Jordan writes, "We understand you are available to testify at a deposition." So apparently there's been some communications. They have settled on this date. But this is the type of things that Americans have been hoping this new administration and this DOJ now, and with the change out of the last administration, that finally people's feet would be held to the fire. Perhaps Jack Smith will be among the first, as we saw Comey and Letitia James get their indictments tossed. People really want accountability for what this nation went through in the past several years.
Absolutely, what the nation went through, and now we're finding out what our congressmen went through. We had congressmen and women who were spied on. Their phone records were illegally looked at by the DOJ, and that was Jack Smith who was involved in that. And that's why we need to make sure that we do get him to testify. And I agree with Marc. It will be fantastic to watch Jim Jordan question him. I understand that he is a seasoned attorney and he knows what he's doing, but I also think it's hard to wiggle out of Jim Jordan's questions, so I look forward to it.
Yeah, so do we. And again, we don't know if it will be public, but there definitely will be those cameras, of course, on the sidelines as we watch him move in and out, unless, of course, they come up with some type of delay tactic. Now the other story we're tracking, and that is the Somalis. We have Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey not only saying they're not going to work with ICE, then he goes into their dialect here, as if he doesn't see sort of how bad this plays to the American public and his own constituents here in America.
Our police, many of whom are Somali themselves, are trusted partners in keeping people safe. They will not collaborate with any federal agency around doing immigration enforcement work. To our Somali community, Daman Shabka, Somaliyed Kunul, Minnesota, Garahan, Minneapolis.
All right, so I don't know if he got some lessons, some Duolingo, Marc, but, you know, who are they protecting? Some are calling out some of the crimes here from the Somalis. An immigrant who abducted a 12-year-old girl in Minnesota, raped her, and gets support from the community because they're not assimilating, even around someone who is allegedly doing something horrific to a child. What do they say? I think we have his image here. They called him a deeply good man and faced a challenge of starting over in a new culture. Are you kidding me? What about the challenge that little girl who was raped will face for the rest of her life? And then we have, of course, this tweet, 2021, Bill Kristol, former chief of staff to vice president, saying almost every Afghan refugee will turn out to be so much better than an American than Charlie Kirk. That one hits home on so many levels. Marc, I'll give you the first go at this.
Well, Bill Kristol is so 20 years ago. He doesn't even deserve to be commented on anymore. He's that much of a loser and non-relevant. But what I want to go back to is that tweet that Alana Austin's report had from Tricia McLaughlin. They are going after people who have final deportation orders. They have overstayed their welcome. A judge has heard their case and ordered them removed. And there you have the mayor of Minneapolis saying, we are going to ignore that court order. We're going to block police from getting people out of here who have been ordered to be removed. And I'll tell him something. He needs to learn his place, Mr. Mayor, because you may not have to help. We don't need it. But if you get in the way, you will be in a cell right next to him.
Yeah, and it's a great point. It's also coming to light, you know, how Obama could use a lot of drone strikes in Yemen and Africa, and, you know, 563 strikes, Somalia. Innocent civilians were killed in these, Tudor. And, you know, it's not every Somalian, okay, Somali, like, that's not it. It's to what Marc said and to what DHS is saying. It's the ones who are committing crimes. I know in Michigan, Dearborn has a huge Muslim, you know, community as well. And there are people who come here and they just don't assimilate. And it's a big concern because not only are they here, a lot of them hate America and everything we stand for.
I think the media has done a great job of manipulating what ICE does. And I think it's critical to understand that the federal government has a role, and that is to keep us safe and to make sure that people who should not be in the country are not in the country. And I think it's hysterical to watch this mayor say ICE is un-American and then speak in a language he clearly doesn't even understand and clearly is uncomfortable speaking. You can watch the man behind him who's like nodding along like, yep, he got that, he got that. They obviously coached him to speak a foreign language while he trashes the federal government and tells us that the federal government is un-American. But this is traveling throughout the country. I mean, look at Mamdani. Look at what we saw out in Seattle. Look at what we're seeing in Minneapolis. This has got to be Republicans taking notice and saying we have to make sure that the American people and that the youth of this country understands what our values are, what we stand for, what America is, and we push these people out of office. They can no longer continue to lead in this way that is destructive to our country.
And you're right, the framing is so dangerous as well. A Time magazine 2 days ago, what to know about Trump's targeting of Somalis. This is not a target. It is just making sure our streets are safe. But hey, if you ask California Congressman Maxine Waters, she wanted people to get in the streets and push against President Trump. She's at it again, Marc, over the boats and the narco terrorists coming in. Here's her recent statement. Just hours ago on X, President Trump is a killer. I hold him responsible for the murder of individuals in boats who he claims are Venezuelan drug traffickers. President is killing human beings without congressional consultation. She goes on saying it's an abuse of presidential power. 91% down in drug trafficking boats in the Caribbean. That was the figure President Trump shared live here during his cabinet meeting, which we aired in its entirety on Newsline. So let's just go back to really who Maxine Waters is and why Trump derangement syndrome is so deep in her DNA.
No, absolutely.
If you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd and you push back on them.
It's 2018. She really feels this hatred for years eating her up. Marc, final thoughts.
Where was Maxine Waters when Barack Obama ordered the execution of American citizens who were fighting with terrorists, by the way, in overseas? There was no judge, there was no jury. He acted as both. No one claimed war crimes. No one was calling, for them to be imprisoned because President Obama, by the way, made the right decision. Republicans didn't howl about it, but Maxine Waters, the Democrat Party, their TDS is out.